Karim Khan, the head of the International Criminal Court and a British lawyer specialising in international criminal law, has assembled a panel of experts to discuss the issuing of warrants for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu and the Prime Minister of Israel, and Yoav Gallant of Israel, for war crimes. Being the even-handed body that it is, the ICC has also included Yahya Sinwar and Ismail Haniyeh of Hamas. What could possibly go wrong? I'm Granniopteryx. So, what could go wrong? Well, how about this? The composition of the panel for a start. Here we are. According to the Daily Telegraph, several of them have form on the anti-Israel front. A good example might be this lady here, Helena Kennedy, KC, who only a couple of weeks after the October 7th atrocities, I think that Israel hadn't even started any military operations by the time she was talking, although they might have just started. Miss Kennedy came out with the following criticism during an interview with Prospect magazine. She said that Israel was overstepping in its response and accused it of breaching international law by cutting off critical water supplies to Gaza. And this is what she said. Water is a basic human right, and its denial violates international law. It is a war crime. So it looks to me as if she's already made up her mind and the case hasn't even started yet. However, I'm not so sure that any country is obliged to supply water to a sworn and an attacking enemy. But setting that to one side for a moment, I decided to look at what Israel actually did, something which it turns out Miss Kennedy did not. This is an article, admittedly from the Times of Israel, so it might be partial, but I doubt it's being partial about the facts. And it says here, on October the 9th, Israel cut off the piped water it sends into Gaza, which amounts to some 9% of the coastal enclave's water supply in peacetime. 9%. Well, the water level might have gone down a little bit in a few of those swimming pools owned by the Hamas high-ups, but I doubt thirst would have been a problem with a 9% drop. But it does say something about Ms. Kennedy's knee-jerk reaction and lack of any digging, doesn't it? So I'd say, with people like her in the panel, Israel wouldn't get much of a fair hearing. But, I hear you say, what about their warrant for Sinwar and Haniyeh? Yeah, that's really going to have an effect, isn't it? They're really going to feel excluded from the community of the world, aren't they? Being treated like heroes who socked it to the Western imperialists while they bask in their luxurious estates in Qatar or Syria or Iran or China or even Russia or any of the other countries that couldn't give a toss about the ICC. Even if the ICC could really prosecute them, which it cannot, because terrorist organisations are not included in any war crimes legislation. Here we have a little clip about that. Does the Geneva Convention apply to terrorist groups? Unlawful combatants, including terrorist organisations and organisations that harbour them, are not subject to Geneva Convention protection. By protection, we're talking here about reciprocity. That is, you get the protection if you are observing or maintaining the rules. Now, according to the Geneva Convention, terrorists are not war criminals. They are simply criminals. So the whole thing is a joke. And it's a joke on the legal system of the West. If this went through, all civilized governments would have their hands tied by the ICC, while their terrorist attackers would not. On the other hand, Netanyahu at least can look on the bright side. The first bit of the bright side is, well, he's much despised in Israel. There's a very large constituency against him. But this attack on him, this totally unfair, ridiculous and mendacious attack on him, is certainly going to draw the Israeli public together behind him. But even better, if he does get arrested, he can turn himself into the UK, where, again, according to the Telegraph, you can get out of jail free in no time at all with a spoon. Apparently, the prison walls are so crumbly in some prisons that inmates can dig through with plastic cutlery. And this is what they have to say. One of the worst, conditions was Victorian-era Winchester men's prison built in 1849, where watchdogs reported crumbling walls and roofs all over the prison, leading to leaks, flooding and slip hazards. So decrepit was the damp, sodden masonry that in one case a prisoner was able to use plastic cutlery to tunnel through the wall of his cell onto a prison landing. So don't worry, Benjamin, my lad, they can jail you, but you'll be out in no time. Okay, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo, with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.